Yep.
did play. Just sort of, what do you think of his chances? And I mean, do you talk to him? Do you feel like he should be in?
I think his chances are really good. I think he made the finals. Was it the last 2 years he made it? And I would put Tony in sort of the exact same category I was in. And because he didn't play a long time for his position,
Is that right? 4?
they look at him differently. And but not that he's not a Hall of Famer. They look at him as, okay, there's kind of this unwritten rule. I don't even know if it's unwritten, but the way I've been watching it is that they kind of make people, it's almost like you got to pay your dues, kind of wait it out, and then it kind of balances out, where they can say, all right, now you can get in. You're kind of sitting there at that club door at the VIP, and they're like, we got these other VIPs that are coming in. We'll let you in, but we got to get these other guys in. All right, now it's your turn. And that's what I felt like. And so Tony, absolutely. I remember watching Tony in Jacksonville, and he was just a dominant, need no help. And it's hard and here's the problem. It's just hard for linemen, period. Because the only stat lines they have is if you're all pro or if you're a pro bowler. And so it's hard to really kind of throw those out there to say how it doesn't really describe or show you how dominant he was at the time, the years that he played, because we don't have a stat that can really justify it for him. But Tony Baselli was right up there with the greats, and was one of the best, probably the best left tackle who played in his era.
So you think he should be in?
Yeah.
What does it mean for the Georgia Bulldogs to have two of their former running backs, of course, playing in the big game on Sunday? You'll have Todd Gurley, you'll have Sony Michel. So how big is that for them to not only be playing in the game, but be playing in the game in Atlanta?
I'm like a proud papa. That's what it's like. Those are my sons. No, it really is, because you know how it is. You watch your alma mater. You see, I've known Sony and Nick and Todd for a long time and watched them. And to see them playing in this game and to know that this is a big stage, and every time we get interviewed or something like that, that's coming up. And unfortunately, I wish they were on the same team. I wish they were playing, but now what I do know for a fact is that a Georgia running back will win a Super Bowl, which is cool. And possibly they have a chance to be an MVP. And if that happens, if my math is correct, Hines Ward was Super Bowl MVP. He went to Georgia. He played running back at Georgia. Most people don't know that.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. So Hines played running back, and he was a quarterback, running back, and then he played wide receiver. So, matter of fact, Hines and I were in the same backfield together. You didn't know that. See, I'm giving you some history right now, breaking it down. When Hines was a freshman, I got hurt my senior year. Hines came in, started. I think he started. I was out 5 games, so Hines started those games. When I came back, they put me at fullback, and Hines was a starting tailback. So when I say literally in the backfield together, I was blocking for Hines, and then I said, "Nah, Hines, you got to block for me. I can't keep blocking for you, man." No.
Oh, and that's why he was such a stellar blocker at the wide receiver position.
So Hines was an athlete. Hines was probably, one of the. I've seen one guy like Hines in my life that could do it all, like undersized but can block and catch. Had a crazy just knack for the game, but wasn't afraid of anything, and that was Hines. So yeah, when you watch as a receiver, yeah, he got a lot of that from playing and blocking and doing that stuff at Georgia.
And finally, who do you think will be a breakout star in the Super Bowl? So we know about Tom Brady, we know about Jared Goff, but somebody who America isn't very familiar with, but after the game, they'll be like, okay, this cat can ball.
That's always a great question, because we try to find those the unsung heroes and trying to find the guys who can contribute. The names that I'm thinking of are guys like Robert Woods. We don't talk a lot about Robert Woods, and I think he's been tremendous the last couple of weeks. You might get somebody like Cooks could be that hero. It might even be the guys that we already know, and that might be it for the Rams, like Ndamukong Suh could be a guy. Everybody's focused on Aaron Donald. Could it be Suh can really make an impact in this game? Chris Hogan could come out of nowhere and have 8 or 9 catches in a game like this. So I'm trying to find that player too, and I haven't quite identified who that player is going to be, but as I look back at other Super Bowls, it's kind of been the usual suspects who have come through in these games, right? It's kind of been the guys we expect. other than the 1 year where James White kind of went off, the Patriots came back and won that game, but Tom Brady threw for 8,000 yards, so he was MVP. But James White probably should have been MVP in that game.
Tom said it himself.
Did he say it? Gave him a car. I think he gave him a car. Gave him a car for it, so Tom understands that. Yeah, I'll let you know. I don't have one yet.
Are there any running backs in the league who remind you of yourself currently?
Not one. Running backs are like fingerprints. There's not. There isn't. There's not two alike. They're all different. And I've been trying to find that guy that looked like me since I've retired, and I just don't know who. I haven't seen him.
Thank you.
When you Patriots have 36 players who played in a Super Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah. How is experience going to play a factor?
Oh, then we need to chalk this game up. This game is then the Patriots win it. I mean, that's what the game. And I'm being funny, but the game, fortunately, is not won or lost by experience. And I've experienced that myself. We played the Packers, who their whole roster had just come off a Super Bowl win the previous year. We had John, maybe Steve Atwater, maybe Mark Schlereth, and probably a handful of guys who had experience. Everybody else had zero experience. We won the game. So I don't look at experience as being a key factor in a game like this. Experience allows you to have just to kind of know what's coming leading up to the game. It doesn't really have any bearing once the game kicks off, unless it's really with some coaches who may feel a certain way during the game where their play callings might get a little conservative. You know, that could happen. So I do worry about that a little bit. But I think Sean McVay will keep things pretty consistent. Because I think looking at last year's game, right, with Doug Peterson, and Doug went by his own book. His book was to be aggressive, and they ended up winning that game. So I believe that Sean McVay would say, all right, we're going to be aggressive, do what we do. And again, like experience, I didn't think it during the game. I wasn't looking over the sideline saying those guys have more experience than us. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great question that we talk about a lot. How much does it factor in? And they have a whole different level of experience with the Patriots, though. It's totally different. But I do believe that in this matchup with a team that has so much experience and a team that has zero, that it really shouldn't be a factor.